Time for a little Funky Friday. From their funky hidden headquarters, your hosts, Keith and Gary. Not Jerry.
I want to put this out there now. I don't want to bring everybody down, but Keith's mom died on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And if you know Keith at all, what happened to Kieran?
Oh, we lost him.
If you aren't aware that his mother passed away on Wednesday, please send him some thoughts and some kind words. His whole family is just devastated. It came out of nowhere. That's why he's not going to be here this week, and we got to wait to do his episode because all the stuff that was previously going to be today had to be pushed off because he's not there. He's not there. And it just I love Keith. He's one of my there he is. He's one of my dearest, closest friends. And you know, if you didn't know this, Kieran, Keith's mother passed away on Wednesday, and it's been a rough week. It started really last week when word came in that things were worse than we thought. And then on Monday, he got the devastating news that it wasn't weeks, it was down to hours. And it was rough going for Keith. And again, anybody who knows Keith and that is connected with him online, please send him some kind words and love. This guy, he's one of the most important people in my life. I'm devastated by this. He's wanting to do a get together, and I'm always nervous about that because I don't do well with emotional stuff. I hide because I'm always afraid of it. And I'm always afraid I'll look like an asshole. But the fact is, I really care, but I'm very withdrawn from people when emotional stuff happens. And I just, I'm like a deer in headlights. I never know what to say or do. But for some reason, it comes easy with Keith, tell him how I feel. And, and I love him so much. And he knows how much I love him. It's ridiculous. But please do send some kind words and some love his direction. He really needs it right now.
Yeah, I can't come down to get together with everybody this weekend, but I'll be down next weekend for the service.
Well, he sent out a message wanting to do a get together. Were you included in that? Because I'm assuming you were. No,
because he knows that I can't come down. Because
that's why. Okay.
Yeah, I'm house sitting this weekend.
Man, I tell you. But again, please contact him. Send him some love. And with that, I guess we'll proceed with this show. It's Friday. I've decided to switch the morning show, calling it Fantastic Friday to Fucking Friday. It's fucking Friday. It was a joke this morning. We had an interesting show this morning, Kieran. Normally we talk about shows, but Anima's internet died. Her power died, actually. Her power died. So she can come on. And Don, once he saw we were doing it, but amazingly, Tom Reed and Bill showed up. Bill, our producer, showed up and introduced me to Tom Reed, who is involved with one of the big cases in UFO history. He was a child when it happened, but he has memory of it. He was 10 years old, and we started talking. He was our guest for 38 minutes, almost 40 minutes on the show this morning. So we did an impromptu UFO Wednesday on a Friday. And it was fun, man. We're going to have him back this next week, and we're going to get Mike Barra on here. I'm pushing this because he's going to be staying with him on Wednesday, but he doesn't get till 1 in the afternoon. So we're probably going to do a UFO show for our dangerous military nerds. And I want to go to the mat with him because those of you that know anything about ufology know that Mike Barra is a big name. He's on a lot of the shows. But Mike Barra came out on a special series with Travis Taylor, the physicist, confessing that he is a lunar landing denier. And I swear to God, I wanted to reach through the screen and throttle him because he was such an asshole on that show. I'm like, oh my God, I want to fucking kill you. I used to like you. What are you doing? So I said, I want to bury the hatchet with this guy that probably, he doesn't know who the hell I am. Like, why should I care about that is what he's thinking. But I want to bury the hatchet because I want to like him again. And I think that if we have a conversation about it, I can let go of this fucking anger I have towards you. It's really stupid. It really is. But you are here, and we are going to talk a little geekosity, Kieran. So you got a new writer over there. Are you liking that? Are you liking that? A little less pressure on you?
Yeah, well, still a lot of work to do, obviously, between us. But I've briefly spoke to him. He's a lovely guy. It's great to have him on board.
Is he from the Philippines?
I believe so.
It's like Mikey sure likes to hire from the Philippines. I'm not saying he has a preference, but he has a preference.
Well, he has roots there, bless him.
Yes. If you didn't know that, that's where he's from. Other people, I know you know that, but other people might not know that. But we got some interesting stories here. Let's get into this. Chloe Bennett discusses returning as Quake. We've been anticipating this for a while because Mikey's the one who scooped that early on. Yeah. What's this story about, buddy?
Well, she's denying that she's been in contact with Marvel over a return, but didn't Andrew Garfield do the same?
Yeah.
Yep.
Lied through his teeth.
So, plus, she kind of slipped up not long ago, remember? I can't remember who it was, but it was some asshole who said that she's not worthy to share the screen with the likes of Samuel L. Jackson. And she tweeted back saying, your comments aren't going to age well.
Oh, that's right. That's what she said. I like that. Yeah,
so it kind of makes you think, oh, which way is it going then?
I liked her character. I love that series. I actually watched the crap out of that show. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a good show. Not great. Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed it. Agent Carter was better, but I still really did enjoy Coulson's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, we might get to see him back too.
Which is nice because right now he's on that show, Florida Man. And by the way, this latest episode that we didn't talk about today that we will talk about, he directed it.
Oh.
What's his name? Clark Gregg. He directed the latest episode of the show that we watched. But I expect her to return. She's a good character, and she's a fan favorite. So Barbie was based on a controversial German sex toy. And we're talking about original Barbie or the movie version?
Margot Robbie Barbie.
The original.
The original was, I didn't know this.
Bit of a history piece, this one.
Okay, fill us in. What is going on here?
Well, just showing how the whole idea for the original toy was down to one of the co-founders of Mattel. His wife was on a day trip with their daughter and saw this life-size mannequin based on a German comic strip in the window. And, their daughter used to like playing with her dolls in an adult sort of fashion, if that makes sense, like put them in adult life. And that's when it all came together. The inspiration was there.
Holy shit. I had no idea about that.
But the mannequin that sort of really put the idea in their head was based on a sort of crude German cartoon strip.
Is there, are we going to see any pictures in the article? I'm going to look right now. Nope, no pictures. Oh, well.
There's no flipping pictures there, you pervert.
You know me, Kieran.
Get your kicks elsewhere.
That's because, the Toys That Made Us, they gave the story of the history of Barbie, and I don't recall that being mentioned.
Kind of worries me how into this subject you are, man.
No, I love the history of toys. I'm fascinated by the history of toys, even when it's girl toys. And I'm going to tell you something. I like girls at a very young age. And you know how you got to play with girls and hang out with them? Play Barbies. If you're willing to play Barbies, so I get right in there and I take the Ken character. Like, what you doing? Mom, make me a mud pie. So let's see. What do we got here? Michael Keaton offers quick, easy explanation of DC time travel. And I noticed we got Batman Beyond here. What are we in for here?
Depends on the Flash's success and Michael Keaton. Well,
it really does. And I actually do hope it does well.
I have mixed feelings.
I did too, but the fact is, when it comes down to it, I prefer being on the side of wanting something to be successful than be against it. And it's just where I fall. And it's one of the few times you'll find me be proactive. Is I love Michael Keaton. And I love the fact that Ben Affleck is in this. I'm pissed that we didn't get Henry Cavill in it, but I'm happy that we got those two guys in this movie. And that makes me happy enough to want it to be successful. And that's where it is. That's where I lie on that. So if it is successful, what are we thinking?
An Elseworlds Batman Beyond movie.
And Michael Keaton talks about it?
No. Basically, this was brought to us by, how do you pronounce it? Skywalker?
Oh, Skywalker, yeah.
Yeah, on Sill's YouTube channel. He broke down a scene from the movie where Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, Ezra Miller's Barry Allen there, breaking down how time travel works. And, Michael Keaton, he has like the typical view about it. You know, you go back in time, you change some, and it affects the future. But turns out in this film, if you change something in the past, it affects the past as well as the future.
Man.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to understand the math on that. Like, how is it impacting the past?
Well, this is how he described it. So you got the timeline, and you originally think that if you change something, it curves off into another timeline. But it turns out if you change something, there's an intersection. So that timeline remains the same, but a new one is created, creating a new past and a new future.
And the other one doesn't exist anymore.
No, it does still exist. Snyderverse is
so it's still string theory. Okay.
Yeah. So that explains why Michael Keaton's Batman is now Batman in this universe, and why Supergirl is here and not Superman.
And in this universe, the Flash inadvertently killed all the metahumans, or caused them not to exist.
Basically, yes.
And leaves them to have to face Zod. And there's no Superman.
Nope.
Damn it, Barry.
Yeah, God damn it, Barry. But there is this one thing that was when he's on the ship, when Kal-El is on the ship, there's an empty tube.
Yeah. That was meant to be Zeus.
Oh, really? But now people are making the connection that was her.
No, that was Zeus.
No, I'm talking about fans. Fans are making that connection that empty tube was her.
That has been said since the movie came out, because in the tie-in comic, it related the travel of Kara Zor-El into space, and it
on
was
her own journey. On her own journey.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it was in the comic too, and in the earlier versions on the show.
Yeah, that was planned to be retconned. Zack Snyder said that he intended for the old gods Zeus, Ares, and Artemis to be Kryptonian.
Well, this is going to be interesting.
Damn it, Snyder.
I'm still up. I'm trying to be optimistic about this film. I'm trying. And I want to see Michael Keaton get a comeback. He deserves it. But that's good. I think it's good. I think it's good no matter what. I'm not going to talk about that film. Sam Raimi could direct an epic death of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Boy, he looks intense in that photo. Well, let me cover it. There we go. What is going on here, and what can we expect from that? Anything to it?
Well, it's down to who's going to direct Avengers: Secret War. There's a few directors who are in the in Marvel's line of sight right now. Sam Raimi being one of them. And
what do you think about just going into the whole secret thing, the secret invasion? That the word is out that this version of Fury, Sam Jackson says, I don't know this version of Nick Fury. And the executive producer's statements about what Nick Fury is in this series is concerning to a lot of fans. That they are doing something to make him weaker.
I don't think that's true at all. I don't think Sam Jackson would have been a part of it.
I don't think so either, because he loves that character.
He does.
Yeah.
I have faith in Sam Jackson.
Is that your religion now?
Yeah. He should have been
Oh,
Bruce Almighty,
holy
not
Sam
Freeman.
Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson, you son of a bitch. How dare you?
Sam Jackson should have been in Bruce Almighty instead of Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, right. It would have been a motherfucking better movie. So, Sam Raimi could have more direct involvement. What's it going to take to see this happen?
Well, like I say, other directors are also in the running right now, apparently. One being Ryan Coogler, another being Daniel Destin Cretton. Did I say that right?
I don't know how his name is pronounced, so I'm going to
Well, the guy who directed Shang-Chi.
Oh, what a terrible movie.
Okay.
It's not anything like the comic character at all. It was like, why did they even call it that? It's not that character.
Well,
I didn't know
they
shit
made him
about character
have
before.
powers. It was just ridiculous.
if Disney didn't burn their bridges with the Russo brothers, that's who wanted to come back and direct it.
I'm terrified to think that they did burn those bridges. So
Yeah.
But Sam Raimi is somebody I like, but his movie, the Doctor Strange 2 movie, it really had some problems and structurally, and it caused a lot of like inner fan fighting, and it didn't make as much money as I think they wanted. So I hope that didn't hurt his future, because I love Sam Raimi. I love his movies, and I love a lot of what he did with that film. What did I say? It was about 60% of that film I really liked, and about another 15 to 20% that I was like, that's okay. It was like the rest of it that was like, this is just fucking dumb. But goddamn, I enjoyed some of that stuff in that film so much, and I've gone back and I wanted to make my own fan edit of that movie and just kick all the bad shit out and just keep the really good stuff in it.
Like Wanda coming through the mirror.
Yeah, I would take out the whole Reed Richards scene. Just like, that was ridiculous.
That broke my heart.
Yeah.
Because that's who should be playing Reed Richards, not Adam freaking Driver.
Well, we don't know about that yet. Have we heard anything about that, Kieran? Any confirmation of that?
No,
I don't think there is.
Just a rumor.
No.
It's just a rumor right now, and I got to tell you, Adam Driver would be a terrible Reed Richards. He's not right for the part. He'd be great as something like Doom, a young Doom, but
yeah,
not
no John. I'm of the group of no John Krasinski boycott movie.
Yeah, I don't boycott, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Because like, if I don't want to see a movie, I just don't see it. I don't call for other people not to watch it.
Well, I'm talking about, I'm going to personally boycott it. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not calling for other.
I get what you're saying, but it's not really a boycott.
No, I'm just not going to see it if it's not John Krasinski.
No, and I agree. Krasinski is somebody like, I'm looking forward to, by the way, his new final season of Jack Ryan.
Yep.
Have you seen anything about that, Kieran, over there in Limey Land?
No.
Yeah, Limey Land doesn't give a shit about Jack Ryan.
Not really.
He's an American.
We're more James Bond.
We're more James Bond, right?
Well, it's the 30th. I guess it's the 4th season. So
that trailer looked good, dude.
Oh yeah, it did.
I'm excited, but concerned that they're finally going to bring in Ding, and he has a very specific story. And if they don't get that story right, it's going to piss fans off. Where he came from, the Marine Corps, and all that stuff. It's so important to get that right. But I was excited. I got to tell you, my pulse jumped when I saw the trailer.
It looks good, but
Dave Chavez. Woo!
That's still technically not Jack Ryan.
Yeah, I know. He's like alternate universe Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
So any word, has Toby or any of those guys said anything? Because I know Toby has to want to do this to finally finish up Spider-Man.
Oh, he'll want to do it, definitely. Obviously, they're keeping this very close to their chest, like they did with the Infinity War and Endgame.
They really have to, because leaks are ridiculous.
They are.
And some of them I know that they're there for a reason, because we all know that we wouldn't have got Deadpool if that mock trailer hadn't been accidentally released. And some of them are there to test the water, to see if people even want to see it. I get that. But
everyone wanted Deadpool.
I think everyone also wants to see Tobey Maguire wrap up his Spider-Man. And the same thing I got to be with Andrew too.
Yeah.
I really liked Andrew. In fact, I felt Andrew was more comic accurate Spider-Man with the snark. Because even though I know that Tobey was snarky in his Spider-Man, you can hear him saying things. He was a little more subdued in how he did it. Whereas Andrew nailed it. That was comic accurate Spider-Man dialogue. The way he would say shit to people.
Personally, I don't really have a favorite. I just enjoy all three of them.
I don't either. I got to be honest. I have a favorite when it comes to the Punishers. But when it comes to Spider-Man, I love all three. I think they're all good.
I have a favorite when it comes to the Punisher.
I can stand the last one. This guy, Tom Holland. I can
stop listening to him, Kieran. It's like he's just making loud breathing sounds right now. Just pretend.
I can't hear anyone talking.
He can't hear anyone anyway.
Yeah, Marvel just completely killed off the Punisher, basically.
Well, I like Barenthal, his take on it. I just didn't like what the stories were, because they weren't following what the Punisher did. But I love his performance. But when it comes to cinematic, the best Punisher for me is Ray Stevenson, the Irishman. He did an absolute fantastic interpretation in Warzone. And I love that movie. It has so many problems. It got too cartoony in some parts, a little over the top cartoony. But that was apparently Lionsgate interfering with the film.
Got Jigsaw right.
What's that?
They got Jigsaw right.
Jigsaw looked fantastic. I hate that actor. But once he was in the makeup, I fucking loved him. I loved him.
They dropped the ball with Ben Barnes.
I've heard this from two other people. What were your thoughts on that?
I loved his character arc in the TV show. Absolutely loved it. What went wrong with the makeup? He's meant to have like a really disfigured, mangled face, except he just gets away with a few cuts and bruises.
Yeah.
That's what pissed me off.
That he didn't have, because Ben Barnes is different in the Punisher series. And I think a lot of fans were let down with that interpretation. And once again, I'm hoping that we're going to see that shift to being more comic accurate with the new series. I'm hoping. I hate saying this. It's like there's still a part of me that hopes, even though I've lost faith in current Marvel, to get things back on the rails and doing comic stories correctly. I mean, just the most recent thing is the bad numbers they got with the trailer for the Marvels. I liked her show, by the way.
Yeah.
Ms. Marvel, I thought it was a damn good show. I also think it was fucking accidental that it was that good. I don't think they meant it to be that good. I think they intended to do something and went, oh, crap, I don't think we were clear in this. Oh, well, it's done. Let's release it. and it was good. I'm like, holy shit, you know. I thought this is fun. I even enjoyed the end with Danvers showing up. And I'm like, I can't stand her. And oh my God, that was fun. That was a fun ending. But we'll see. We'll see. When it comes to Tobey Maguire, I think every Spider-Man fan agrees he should get the ending he deserves. He got screwed out of finishing his Spider-Man. And Garfield got screwed out of his too. Because I think he was sick and he wasn't able to make it to a meeting, and some Sony bigwig fired him. Ego. Fucking ego.
Yeah.
Avi Arad. It's always Avi Arad.
Was it Avi? Because I can't stand that guy.
It's always Avi.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Oh, Joe's here. Yeah, we haven't talked to the audience real quick. Let me say hi to everybody. We got Penny here. Anima Confusa, love of my life. Slasher Fred is here. Sox Bulletin. Dragon Ruse. Pat is here. Hex Allen Comics is here. Apollome's Minion is here. And, of course, Joe is here. And, of course, we want to send all our love out to our KGRA radio audience. They're almost always between 4,000 and 5,000 people listening to this show. And we're so grateful to KGRA for picking us up. Yep. Thank you, guys. It's through your support that we keep doing what we do here. And I love having Kieran on here because, one, he's a friend of mine, a mate. I like getting my chance to hang out with you and fuck with you a little bit. But you've gotten really cheeky with me, so I like that. You're giving it back to me.
That's the one I want to talk about. Is the next
Andy Muschietti destroys any possibility of Grant Gustin in the Flash too.
Oh no, the next one.
Well, do you mind if we mention something about this? Is that okay with you, John?
No, go ahead.
You sure? All right.
I got my permission.
Okay. So, Kieran, what's going on here? What did he do to shut that shit down?
Well, he basically indirectly discredited Gustin from even ever playing the character. He just said that no one else can play the character better than Ezra Miller.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was my reaction. Sure. You got a movie coming out, so you got to stand by him. I got it.
Say what you will about the TV show. It was terrible after the second season.
Oh yeah, all the CW shows went to crap. Greg Berlanti got power crazy and started just doing all this weird shifting. That was where they shifted to the typical CW fake drama shit with season 2, where I love these scenes. How come you didn't tell me? I just did tell you, but you didn't tell me first. That was on Arrow. That was on Flash. That was an actual fucking bit of dialogue from both shows, different characters. And it's like fake drama is just terrible. It's like if you do, and it's for the tweens and the young teens is what that's for, because they don't understand what real drama is and they like that fake drama for some reason. Why didn't you tell me and make a big situation of it? And the one that I love is about having a kid in Arrow. Remember that one?
Yes.
And like literally she was the second person he told. And he's like, I just found out, but I wasn't the first. And like, what's he going to say to that? What can you say to that? It's like, yeah, it's true. I said something to somebody else first because they were there.
I know what to say.
Okay, let's hear it, Martin.
I would say, go fuck yourself. Get out of here. Don't talk to me again.
Yeah. You're a terrible person. That's how you would say it. So he clears that up. That's good. Antonio Banderas triggers rumors he's Galactus with startling video. I saw a little bit of this. What do you think of it, Kieran? What do you really think?
Well, when I first heard, the rumors came out ages ago, and when I first heard them, I just thought, whatever. It was just someone throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah.
But recently he posted via all of his social media accounts, he's having I forget what they call it. They're just taking a rendering of his face.
A mold. mold of his face. Yeah.
Mm. And that's sort of put those rumors up near the top now, because the only thing about Galactus you can see is his face.
And here we go. I'm going to actually show this really quickly. There it is. This is them doing that, and they, of course, covered his hair so the mold didn't grab it. And because I have a personal nightmare story of doing that to Craig Edwards, who somehow is still a friend of mine. Do not know why. But when we were teenagers, I did my first live mold with him and didn't put enough release on his eyebrows and eyelashes. And I went to pull the plaster off. It wasn't rubber, it was plaster. And I felt tension. And I went, and I made the noise. It was an audible noise. I went, He's, what do you mean, What do you mean, And he's all muffled. What's going on out there? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And then I just pulled it off his face and pulled all the hair out. Because I wasn't going to just leave him in there. I was afraid of him smothering. But anyway, that was one of those funny stories. But they're making a mold of his face, dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this shit's real. And I cannot help it because when I hear Antonio, all I hear is Puss in Boots now. And it's like, I'm hoping he's going to do something different with his voice to play Galactus. Because he's a great freaking actor. But there's only so much he can do. And I'm just hoping that there's a distinction in his voice. That's all I know. But I think he's a great actor to take on this role of Galactus.
As long as they don't make him a cloud.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, the Fantastic Four version. Oh. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a good idea, Kieran?
I'm always open-minded. I was proven wrong by Ben Affleck as Batman, so now I'm always open-minded to whatever casting.
Yeah, you were pretty dumb on the whole Ben Affleck thing.
I was.
You were dumb. I just thought, yeah, you just need to. A lot of us felt that way because, look, I thought he'd be perfect as Bruce Wayne. But I was concerned about his voice, that if he could handle, if they even augmented a little bit, would it work? Fact is, it worked fine. He did great. Of course, we brought this up, and this is what you wanted to talk about too earlier. It's Clark Gregg teases potential MCU return as Agent Coulson.
Yep.
Or the replicant Coulson.
Yeah,
And I don't care.
Hey,
it's still Clark Gregg. Hey, Fat Steven, what's up, buddy?
He's a life model decoy now.
And I love the series. And I love the explanation of how he survived is that he's not really him. He was killed. And they brought him back using alien technology. So are you pretty excited about that? Or what are you thinking, Kieran?
Well,
I don't fucking care, mate.
See, I don't know how I feel about it really, because I'm still not sure whether or not S.H.I.E.L.D. is even canon. Is it?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It is canon.
It flowed one way. It flowed one way, but the fact is, everything they built on was based off of what was going on in the MCU, and everything flowed into it from the MCU. So therefore, it falls into canon because
it's multiverse. Everything's canon now.
Nah.
Yes, even the stupid cat scratching, alien cat scratching Nick Fury's eyes now.
You had to remind me of that, right?
Yeah, this is stupid shit.
Fox X-Men is canon.
Technically, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yep.
So it'll be good to see Clark Gregg come back. I like him a lot. And like I said, he directed episode 5 of Florida Man, and it's a really good episode. I think so far, because we haven't watched the finale. We have not watched the finale. It was either 5 or 6, one of the two. He's absent in 5, that's right. But he's in a great scene in 6. And then at the end of it, it shows who directed it. I'm like, holy shit, he directed the episode. That's fucking cool. Because a lot of actors turn to direction when they feel the waning edges of their career coming in. Yeah. And it's like, I better learn a new trade. Let's see. Flash definitely doesn't erase the Snyderverse. I didn't think it would. I never bought into that. What are you seeing here? What's telling you this, Kieran? Because you and Mikey wrote this, right?
Yeah, it's coming back to what I mentioned earlier about how that Snyderverse timeline remains intact while a new one is created through what happens in The Flash.
So it's like it diverges, and the other one is in memory, and then we move forward with this one. I like that. And if it does well, that will do well, and it'll. Oh my God, it will. I am curious though. Does that mean Ben Affleck disappears in the film because he's no longer part of that new timeline?
Yeah, and the end features George Clooney.
Worst Batman ever.
Yeah, he shows up.
Yeah, but we get Nicolas Cage as Superman though, so
you get a glimpse of him. Yeah. So let's see. David Zaslav strongly suggests some DC movies might suck. No kidding. It's like, did he not read the memo? It's like, yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. I fucking love David Zaslav. I love what he did. He did something nobody in Hollywood has ever done. He shook the very foundation of Hollywood, not just Warner Brothers. He shook the foundation of Hollywood. It's like that scene at the end of Big Trouble in Little China. It says, "We really shook the pillars of heaven, didn't we, Chew?" Or I forgot his name. What was his name? Not Chew.
No.
Oh, damn it.
Chen.
Chen.
No.
Didn't we, Chen? And Chen goes, "Yes, we did, Jack." I love that. And this guy did. He did something that is cascading effects are happening right now across the studio system because what Zaslav did. And we're going to finally see, we're going to eventually see, and I predict this, Kieran, because I understand human nature and how things work with people, that a lot of these people that were costing studios money are going to go away. And it's going to be a focus on making our investors and ourselves money again. And when they do that, you'll get a little more fun entertainment for the grander, bigger audience rather than a select few. And David Zaslav caused that. He's the Big Bang Theory of this movement. I have problems with some of the shit he did and some of the things he said, but God damn it, give credit what credit is due. This guy shook the very foundation of Hollywood in a way no other producer ever has or executive has. And so what does this suggestion mean in the long run about some DC movies might suck?
Well, he admitted that he has strong faith in what they're doing and what James Gunn is doing, but I don't know. He just says, obviously, not all of them are going to work out.
I think he's being realistic in saying that. Yeah.
Aquaman 2. I see. I'm talking about you there.
Oh, good God. Heard nothing but bad things about that so far. The Flash's Project 70 million opening is completely misleading. And I didn't hear anything about this. What does that mean? What are we talking about here?
Well, early projections were in the 140 million range, but then later ones went down to 70.
Why?
No idea. It was a strange dip. But
it is really weird because for them to second guess their projections is weird. Did something happen? Did you hear rumblings of something? Because my big fear is Ezra Miller doing something stupid again.
That was what I was thinking. Honestly, I don't know.
It could be the pre-sales aren't where they expect them to be.
Is that it?
Might be.
Oh, I see Scott is here.
Yes.
Yeah, Scott Lewis in the chat, and of course Donnie Pearson just popped in. So it's good to see everybody. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody? I don't want to miss anyone. So, all right. So, good grief. I hope it does well. I just hope it does. I hate wishing ill will, because don't get me, I just like any other person, there's a certain amount of Schadenfreude I enjoy.
Yeah.
When people who are fucking idiots get to eat a little humble pie, that's awesome. But in this situation, I think they've turned things around a lot. I think David Zaslav has really put a lot of effort into saving this. And I don't know how much James Gunn had to do with fixing this, if anything at all. Him and Safran. What do you think on that?
Honestly, it's anyone's guess.
Because I know that Gunn, if not also Safran, were behind Henry Cavill being removed from it.
Yeah.
Because I think they had a singular vision of where this needed to go. I don't know how much reshooting was done, because we heard like a mixture of views of how much reshooting. Did you ever hear of a definitive number of hours, or, you know?
Nope.
It's some was reshot. We don't know. Let's see. Hugh Jackman shows off return of his famous Wolverine beard. I'm going to click on that one.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I couldn't fit the picture in.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but
You're fired, Kieran. No.
I couldn't fit it in.
You're a right bastard.
He posted it on his Instagram, but then he deleted it.
Oh, okay. But
it looked
cool.
like his Logan beard.
Yeah.
Like that.
No, it was like the regular
Burns.
beard with the little bit missing, like he wore
Yeah,
at
right
Logan.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah, but the chops aren't as big.
It's the inverted Van Dyke. Let's see. Nicolas Cage's shocking cameo fulfills project decades ago. What?
Superman.
That's the Superman.
Oh, that.
There you go.
That's the one.
Even though I wish the movie had been made, I'm also equally glad it never was.
Wasn't that Tim Burton?
Next
Yeah.
look on that picture, you can see his mind, hear his mind again. What am I doing this?
How am I doing this? The thing that's funny about it is, the whole spider thing just kind of blows me away, because what's his name? The guy that has the rights to Superman movies is just he gets hyper focused on things, and he wanted that goddamn giant spider fight. And so Brainiac becomes a giant spider. Let's see. Halle Berry sparks online speculation with new selfie. I'm intrigued. Oh. Why does that spark? Because the white in her hair?
There's two ways of looking at it. One being the white in her hair, and the other being that she's holding a cat.
I don't remember a cat with her. With Storm.
I think she's trolling.
No, Catwoman.
Yeah.
Oh.
But shouldn't the cat be black, if anything?
Well, it was the caption she posted on this picture.
Is on Instagram?
Yeah.
There we go.
The caption was it was something to do with patience, and that was her character's name in Catwoman.
Halle Berry, patience takes practice.
So it made people think that she was going to cameo in The Flash as Catwoman.
Huh. So your article is misleading by showing Storm.
No, Storm was the main focus, but that was just like a little bit at the end.
Yeah, because Rob Liefeld posted on it something about a storm brewing.
Yes.
That's right, he did. So.
And also, she posts it at the time Deadpool starts filming.
Yeah.
Power of the right to strong acting. I don't know. Miles Morales is on the run in Spider-Man. I've heard nothing but negative reviews for this. Not one good review yet.
No, well, Andre seems to like it.
Who?
Andre?
Yeah. I've not heard his review.
Chris.
Oh no. He
Chris
didn't
Gore,
review. Chris
Gore did a review. Said it was. What was it?
Just
best Spider-Man movie ever? ?
Because I know that Script Doctor is the first review I read, and he just shit all over it.
No, well, the only thing that has put me in a position in what I prefer to wait to streaming is that Andre said it's more aimed at little kids. So I'll wait and see it in my house.
By the way, all the new toys, Kieran, are amazing.
Yeah, that Batmobile is.
And by the way, Monkey Jeebus, he went and put a flat primer on it, taped it off, put a primer on it, and then painted it flat black. And his Batmobile looks 1,000 times better. And I didn't think it could look better, but it does. Yeah. It is so spot on. McFarlane knocked it out of the park with these new toys. They really did. Have you seen them?
Wonderful toys.
You said
where does he get those wonderful toys? Don't just stand there, Bob. Go ask him.
You said that Batmobile cannot get any better, and Monkey Jibo said, "Hold my bong."
Hold my bong. That's right. He went and fucking painted that thing, and it's beautiful. And I've got another. Dixon is a buddy of mine. He got one too, but he didn't. I don't think he painted his. Monkey cleaned that thing up, and it just looks amazing in his photos. And I love that the figure fits in there, but it's still not correct scale. Am I not right, John?
Nope.
Because the Batmobile has 2 seats, not 1.
Yep.
So that Batmobile is a little smaller than what it should be. It should be almost double the size. It's a banger, dude. Polly. Polly loved it. All right, cool.
Yes.
I messaged him, by the way, because I'm surprised that I haven't heard anything from him on Florida Man, because he loves to dig into the Hispanic cinema and television, and that show's as Hispanic as you get. Little kids won't get it. 12 and up will. Well, really, I got to be honest with you. Little kids, that's not their movie. These Marvel movies are for 12 and older. It's for adults with a 12-year-old brain and 12-year-olds. And all other kids.
Are you trying to say something?
Children. I'm saying that we're all very childlike in our love for comics, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's like I always say, it's like when I watch a trailer for something that's good, like from something that we love, I will have this reaction where it feels like the 13-year-old that still lives in the back of my brain rushes forward with his face and hands against the window. And that's in my head. And I like that when it brings the child in me back to life. I like films that do that. Let's see. Let's get, how much time we got left? We still got a few minutes.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is this? Justice League 2, Zack Snyder's secret plans for the new gods. What's going on here, Kieran?
He was originally going to include all of the new gods in the sequels. That includes Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, Orion.
That means we get Oberon.
Will we see any continuation of some of this storyline? Will we see another Justice League done by somebody else?
Guess it's as good as mine. I think that's only known by James Gunn and Peter Safran at the minute.
Oh, God, I remember Mr. Miracle.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Miracle's cool. And the guy with the fuzzy face?
Yeah.
That's no, that's all. That's the what's the old father or whatever his name is?
Yeah, that's the old mother and that's the old father.
Yeah,
which is referenced in the boxes in the previous films.
Yeah.
But so what? I mean, is this just talking about the past or where they were planning to go, or is this anything
where they were planning to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it's like I just hate even looking back at this point because Mikey will tell you the news of them ending this thing the way they did really broke me for a bit. I was gone. I'm still kind of gone. My interest is starting to come back. Let's see. Mara Jade planned for. Don't care.
Oh no! Please don't.
Venom discussed to bring brutal horror in Midnight Suns movie. That's interesting to me.
I didn't know they were going to do a Midnight Suns movie.
We've needed an R-rated Venom all along. I just don't know why they did this PG. Venom is not a PG character. So, what are you hearing?
Well, they're going to do a Midnight Suns. I don't know if it's going to be a movie or a Disney Plus series, but Marvel and Sony are talking about using Venom, not Tom Hardy, but seeing that there's a piece of Venom in the MCU now, they're going to use it.
Yeah, because he got left when he left the bar. Yeah.
Yep.
So
hopefully they don't use Flash Thompson, because the Flash Thompson
oh my God
is bad.
Don't put that image in my mind, please.
Alan Moore nearly wrote Astonishing Marvel. Yeah, I don't care about that one.
Hey, Courtney.
Hey, Courtney. Zax is here
Courtney
too.
Here? Hi, Courtney. Zax is here. Zax.
Oh, no. We all know.
Yep.
Is Zax really here? I'm not seeing him.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Here.
my God. Well, Zax knows how much I love him. And this is how much I love him.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
Yeah. Zax is real name is Kyle. Kyle. Let's see. Tati Gabriella in final talks to play Jade in Mortal Kombat sequel. I don't know how I feel about that, because I didn't really quite I didn't enjoy that. Henry Cavill's possible replacement is beaming in eye-opening fan art. Dare I look at this, Kieran?
I would.
Just completely skipped over Harris and Dula.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, that's beautiful art.
Okay. Who should we
The actor that I've been hearing and that they showed photos of has a look of Christopher Reeve and Henry Cavill both.
Yep.
Kind of looks like both of them. And I got to tell you, that's the Superman look that I like. Yep. And if he takes his part, I'm going to be hopeful that it doesn't suck. I'm going to be hopeful because I think the kid looks the right part. He's going to have to beef up, but yeah, he looks the part.
And he's wanted the part since forever. Said that he wanted to play Superman in a similar way that Tom Holland said he wanted to play Spider-Man.
And is it the David Cornsweet? Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have the photo of him in here, though, just the fan art. Because it kind of looks like him here, but it almost looks more like Henry Cavill in that page.
Yeah, I didn't pick the photos for this one.
Yeah, you need to kick whoever does that aside and go, I got this. I've got this, mate. All right, here we go. Oh, wait. I wanted to find his name. Again, what is it? Cornsweet?
David Cornsweet.
Yeah, Cornsweet. Because I wanted to find this guy's picture and share it. Because there he is. He's got the look.
Yeah.
There's already fan art there in his bio.
Yes.
Look at his hair. Already got the Superman curl, and he's not even playing Superman there.
Sad thing is, he's had to delete his social medias.
Really?
Because of backlash from Snyder fans.
Oh, my God. Look, I understand loving Henry Cavill, but look, man, if it's moving forward, this is the photo I saw of him. Yeah. And he absolutely nails the Christopher Reeve Henry Cavill look.
He's got a little Tom Welling there, too.
You know what? He does in the shape of his eyes.
Yep.
And the corners of his mouth. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So I think this kid's going to work. I think he'll work.
He's my top choice.
It's just hoping that James Gunn isn't fucking lying again. And once again, Kieran, you and I think you and I agree. he needs to get the fuck off social media.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Warner needs to order that. What's that?
I find it entertaining, actually.
He's entertaining, but he causes more trouble than problems he solves.
Mm.
And that's not good. That's bad for business.
Well, he has said that he's going to cut down on it at least.
He needs to, because business is more important than ego and pride. And he needs to just sort of like, remember the old days when actors were afraid of saying anything in public and would go to their manager and their publicist first? Remember that? We need to go back to that day. We need to go back to that old practice and get some of these fucking people to shut the fuck up, because they're ruining
Speaking
really
of,
good shows and films.
Speaking of going back to business, it's about
I know
time.
It's time. That's why I wrapped up. It's like I know what I'm doing, John. I love you, buddy. I know, Kieran, I'm a dick. I want to thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. I hope you had a fun show.
Yeah,
I want to read less and really go into what you're thinking when you write those articles. I think that's more interesting than reading the article.
Yep.
Oh, I'm glad you think so too.
Yes, Courtney, I did. I got a haircut today.
Yes, it's more Michael Douglas. I love it. And I love that you've embraced that now. Kieran, thanks a lot, buddy, for being here, man. We're going to go to commercial break. We will be right back after this message.
All right, see you later.
Hi, guys. This is Gary from Pop Culture Minefield here on KGRA, and we're leaving for our first break. I hope we survive.
Did you know 75% of Americans
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Oh, wow. We survived. Welcome back to the commercial break. Now for some more Pop Culture Minefield on KGRA.
I'd buy that for $1.
There we go. And, we're looking huge. Let's put us back to normal. Yeah. There we go. Welcome back from the break. Kieran was a lot of fun this morning. I hope you had a good time. Kieran is just so delightful as a human being. How can you be that positive and so adorable at the same time? It's ridiculous. He's like a bunny rabbit, you know? But this next guy, he's a little more jaded. He's got a badass look to him, shaved head, earrings. He's like a punker. You guys know him as, you mostly know him as Bleeding Fool. But the fact is, he has a name. His name is Chris Brawley. And we've been talking for a while. I like Chris, man. I like the cut of his jib, man. There he is. Let's bring him up here.
Hola.
What is up, Chris? How you doing today, man?
I'm good.
I like your setup, man.
Oh, yeah? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, this is a little different than last time.
That's what
nice.
I've got a studio, but this is my home studio.
Your home studio? I like the colors. What's that poster on the behind you there on your back? So, there it is.
That is Jack Kirby's Mad Bomb cover, I think, from
because it looks like Captain America to my eyes.
You see it any better? Yeah,
It is Captain America. It is.
Yeah, that's
okay.
issue 193 that Jack Kirby was doing on his own. Love that run. I've got, I think, about 20 or 25 of those issues in my long boxes. It's just a powerful piece of artwork.
It is. Kirby, because especially when he was being pressed to finish a lot of work quickly, because he really was. Stan Lee worked him. He's a workhorse,
like a burrowed mule.
Yeah, his musculoskeletal stuff was, some of it was really questionable. Like, that's not what a tricep looks like, because that's one of the first things that would get fucked up in his artwork is his triceps. I'd look at that and go, that is the weird looking back of his arm. But it's because he was being pushed and forced to work quickly and not able to finish the artwork in the time that he would like to have done it in. But his artwork had such an impact on every one of us, including me as an artist.
Yeah.
I absolutely use Kirby's action lines and when I do space, because there's a lot of space in what I do, sci-fi and stuff.
Sure. The crackle.
I use the little dots, different sized dots for building my galaxies, and it's fun. I love doing that.
Kirby, I was first introduced to Kirby. My next door neighbor had a reader copy of, I think it was Fantastic Four 64, 65. I don't know. It was the cover was ripped off of it, and they were battling Blastar and the Sandman. And I just read that thing backwards, forwards. Even the Inhumans were in that one briefly. I mean, it was explosive, as Kirby often is. And, then I went through sort of this weird phase as I got older, because I got into Buscema and got into, over on the DC side, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, which was much more of your house style artists. Both of them very good, not to take anything away from them, but not quite as innovative as what Kirby was doing. And so I kind of, and like what you just described, there were periods where Kirby did some work that was a little bit rushed. And so I kind of lost my taste for Kirby, but as I've gotten older, at least after I got in my late 30s or whatever, I found a new appreciation for Kirby, and it's never went away.
Did you ever read his 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Oh yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it, and I've got the first. I've got the whole Eternals run, and his first. Well, up on the wall, I've got a nice 9.4 slabbed Machine Man #1. So, yeah. Love the Kirby stuff, really do.
Oh, man.
And I used to be against slabs too, but now I'll only slab something if I own it unslabbed or a way that I can read it. So, I mean, that's not like I got a lot of slabs. I got maybe a little over a dozen, but they're important. Like I've got the Nom #1. I've got Florida Man #1, which is the book I did with Mike Barron. Actually got that to be a 9.8. Just books that mean something to me, or that maybe I owned when I was younger, or like Amazing Spider-Man 300. I actually picked that up at the PX on the spinner rack on a Navy base. I was a CB, and I'd gotten out of comics since I was a teenager, and so I'm in my mid-20s or whatever, and I saw that, and love him or hate him, McFarlane's art style, much like Kirby, it was really innovative. I mean, I know he swiped from other people and stuff like that, but it was just such a dynamic style that I opened it up and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the hell am I looking at here? And so I owned it, read the heck out of it, have it collected in all sorts of editions. But then I found I think that's a 8.6 or something. Yeah, 8.5. And I got it for a steal. So, couldn't pass it up. But I had to turn off my notifications on eBay because I started doing I was getting hit every day with possibilities of things that I might want, and I just had to stop. I don't have the space for that. It's crazy, or the budget for that matter.
Right. But Kirby's done so much great stuff. A lot of people don't know that he actually did a Star Wars cover.
Oh, I think I remember that. I couldn't tell you what it was of.
Let me find it here. Hold on. I got it here. Here we go. Here it is. That's his Star Wars cover.
No way. Jeez. I forgot I was on the Pop Culture Minefield for a second there.
Pop Culture Minefield.
That's clever, though.
Yeah. Clearly done in his style. But no, he never did. Even though he was still working when that came out. The best artist that came out of the Star Wars books was Al Williamson and Carlos Garzón. Those two.
Al Williamson, absolutely. You know, I think a lot of people overlook what's the guy's name that was over at DC, ended up being their editor-in-chief for a while.
I know Dan Didio.
No, not Dan. No, but he was an artist with him for a long time. He did The Flash for many years.
Oh shit, I can't think of it.
It's right after the first dozen issues. Gosh, I can't think of it either. It'll come to mind. I guess I could sit here and start binging and Googling it to figure it out.
Yeah, I know. I make that joke with Keith and I when we first started this show. It's like I would say, "Hey, Keith, what do you think of this?" And he goes, "Well, I don't know." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know that information either. If only we had a device that we could just look up information."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I would tease us as being boomers.
At the camera.
But Chris, I also wanted to talk to you not just about like what you do over at Bleeding Fool.
Yeah.
A lot of us are big fans of your work.
Thanks. Wow.
I was really pleased when you and I followed each other and became friends with one another, because I really admire what you do over there. And,
oh wow! Thanks, I'm flattered.
Well, I think I told you before that Bleeding Cool, it started out okay, but then when politics started playing into things, all of a sudden they just went kind of goofy. And I had to unfriend not only the guy that created it, his dad too, because I was friends with his dad. And I'm like, yeah, you guys got to go bye-bye. Nice people, but
are they all the same political bent?
No, they don't get along. But yeah, they're both bent the same direction. But the father and son, from what I saw, they didn't get along at all. But politically, they were very aligned. And once the politics started getting kind of goofy in comics, especially like CBR was one of the first ones I noticed. Because I used to be on their bulletin board. Remember they had the little, I was on there, and then I started seeing some of the stuff, and I'm like, and I'm a pro. I was working for IDW at the time. I'm like,
you are a pro. Yeah.
I'm the fuck out of here, guys.
Baby. Absolutely, dude.
Well, and I want to bring that up while you're here, because you and John Trent have both committed to helping promote When I Finally Unleash Vindicated.
Here it comes.
And I am so stoked. Did you like what I showed you of that?
Absolutely. It's beautiful, man. I mean, I'm stoked about it.
It's veteran based, and you being a CB, I'm very passionate about it. And a lot of people forget that I am the official artist of Dale Dye. I do everything for Dale Dye. The guy behind Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, and all that shit.
Yep.
I'm his artist.
Oh, you're
and I've been working
man.
17 years, and it blew my mind when I realized that this year. I'm like, oh my God, I've been working for you guys for 17 years. How have you put up with me?
That's incredible.
And we're like family.
A lot of prayer.
And we just had Dale on last week on our show.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Wednesday last week, dude. Go check it out.
I will.
Dale Dye was an incredible guest. I love that man so much. And I did say it during the show. I said, there are only 3 people who've ever made my ass clench when they call me son. And I said, you are one of them. Because when you say my name, that means everything's good. You're happy with my work. When I hear the word son, I know I've done something that needs to be corrected.
Especially if you're not related, right?
Yeah, it's like, it's like, and I told him the only other people like that were my godfather, Irish priest, not because of anything weird. It's just when he would call me Gary, everything was good, against son, or my XO in the Army would do the same thing. Lieutenant Bose would call me Kissel. And then all of a sudden when I was in trouble, son, get over here. And I'm like, fuck.
It was never to reward you.
No, it was never, ever to reward. But what's funny is, I did get along with my XO. I don't know about you. You had an XO in the CBs, right?
We called him petty officer, chief petty officer.
Chief petty officer.
Yeah.
CPO. And with us, we refer to him as XOs, your executive officer, lieutenant. Mine was his first lieutenant, not second. And smart as a whip. First time I got yelled at was because I threatened somebody while running a track with my squad. And he was in another squad, and he talked shit to one of my guys. And so I cut him off. And then because I boxed, I know how to run backwards. And I spun around on him because he kept trying to go around me. I wouldn't let him get around me. Finally, I spun around on him, running backwards. I said, "Aren't you going to tell me to get out of the way, fat ass," or something like that, like you yelled at my buddy over there? He said, "Hey, man, I don't want a problem." You got one. So I threatened him. I said, "If I ever catch you talking to one of my guys like that again, I will beat the loving fucking shit out of you. We understand each other?" "Yeah." "Now apologize to him." And he apologized to the guy, and then we continued. We never stopped running. This didn't stop. We just kept moving. And when I was done with the run, Lieutenant Bose was like, "Private Kissel, report." Because they heard what I said.
Sure.
Yelled at me in front of everybody, then took me privately and said, "By the way, I commend you for standing up for your soldiers like that." I said, "You yell at me in front of them, but then pull me aside to commend me." Fucking military.
Did they bump you up to an E2 or E3 after that?
I only got to E2.
Okay. Okay.
Because I left the military. I don't think I ever told you that.
No, I don't think you did.
My wife was in the Army. We served together. And she wanted to continue her career and not have a kid. I wanted the kid. So I stayed home and raised the kid.
Mr. Mom.
Well, yep. And I love doing it, man. I love raising kids. I raised my daughter by myself, man. Kids are awesome.
Yes, they are.
And, you know, it's probably the only thing I did better than being a soldier, because I like being a soldier. I loved it. But raising a kid's amazing. And there's nothing exhilarating.
Well, when it turns out well. It's
when you've got a teenage female just throwing you nothing but fucking negative vibes and sass, and you restrain yourself from murdering them. I love that moment.
It's a win. Yeah.
It's a win.
Been there.
Well, how many kids you got?
Just one. I have a daughter. She's 22 now.
Get the fuck out of here.
Runs her own business. She's doing great.
My daughter is 23. She's going to be 24 this August. Nice. She's doing the same thing. She was a manager at 17 of
good for her.
One of the Phoenix, not Subway, what's the other? Jimmy John's. And David Spade was one of her regular customers.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I got pictures of them. It's adorable. And she left home at 17 ready. She told me she was ready. I went, okay, go do your thing. And she did, and she has not had to borrow from me until she moved back here, borrowed a little bit of money, and she immediately paid me back. Didn't ask her. She just did it. You got to be proud, Chris, when you raise your kid right.
Hope she's listening.
Oh, she doesn't listen to me. She loves me to death, but she won't watch this show. She's terrified of the things I might say about her.
I got you.
Well, since we're completely off the topic,
there's no such thing as off the topic on this show.
That's true. Were you talking about Carmine Infantino?
It was Carmine Infantino.
Yes.
Yeah.
Carmine Infantino. Yeah.
Now he's another one of those innovative artists, right? Because like a lot of people don't like how angular he is.
Well, he did Flash of Two Worlds, one of my favorite covers.
Yes. Well, but I think honestly that was before he really got as angular as he was in Star Wars. I mean, you recognize his work later on. That's just my opinion, of course. But yeah, Carmine Infantino, better known for his work over at DC, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all I knew him for. But back in the day, there was another artist that I really loved named Steranko.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
And
he might have drawn something or two.
Have I ever told you the story about Steranko and the last book I did with Mike Barron, Private American? Mike,
which just by the way, it's been released and it looks fantastic.
Oh wow, yeah.
I get no credit for it, and I don't want it because I wanted to work on that book. I was supposed to work on it, but the other project I'm working on demanded too much of me. But I got to help. I did the flats for the cover.
I had no idea for Gabe's cover. Or the colors for the cover?
I did the flats for that cover.
Well, it turned out beautiful. We really had, hey, Donnie Pearson. Hey, we really had fun putting that book together. And it just kept growing,
I couldn't believe it because I got to see some of the pages and they're just so. And my buddy, I'm close friends with Richard Bonk. He is
what a guy.
Man.
Total
I love Richard Bonk. I've stayed at his house.
No kidding.
We've been out. In fact, I keep talking to him. I said, I got to get back down to Florida to see you guys. It's just, I love just disappearing off the map
grid
and just go hang out with him. And we did a con together. It was so much fun. Bonk is one of the, in my opinion, I'm not going to, I can't defend my statement about his artwork. but I can defend my statement about his inking. I consider him one of the best inkers working today.
He's incredible.
And his artwork is rudimentary, but I really do like it.
He's a hell of a draftsman. I will say something.
He is.
He doesn't do really innovative type work, but he ought to be he's better than 95% of everybody currently at Marvel. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And even in Marvel's heyday, which I say is from the 70s through the early 90s,
right?
He could have stood up there with the best of them. He's fast. He's clean. There's nothing inconsistent about his characters. He's dependable. And man, he is, like I said, he is so fast.
Very dependable. He replaced me on one comic, and because I told him I can't finish it.
Yeah.
And absolutely knocked it out of the park. But what's funny, the reason I didn't want to complete it, and I won't say who the person is, I didn't fucking like my boss.
Gotcha.
He was irritating me. And I am at an age where I don't give a fuck. If I don't like you, I don't want to work with you anymore, and I will walk away. But you owe me, fuck you.
I think you made a name for yourself than Bonk has, but with the last name like Bonk, I mean, that's a sound effect. That he should be
he's
much more well known in the comic book industry. Yeah, as a matter of fact,
his name is an onomatopoeia.
He's an incredible person. He's a decent human being,
a veteran too,
stand-up guy, a veteran. He takes good care of himself, takes good care of his family. He's a motorbike rider like me and Mike Barron both.
His Harley is great,
beautiful, and now I'm going to tell you. Here's a little something you may not know. Mike Barron has written his first ever Sherlock Holmes.
I heard about this.
Richard's doing it, and I'm going to say the work that Richard's turning in for that book is better than anything he did on Private American. And
I take credit for a lot of this because I introduced them.
Is that right? Wow.
I do. Look, man, I have lost credit over doing so many things over the years. I remember I actually my ego got a little bruised on this one time. It was over Blade Runner, because if a lot of people forget my involvement in the Blade Runner community, that I was the guy that kept Blade Runner alive. I created BladeZone.com, the #1 Blade Runner website in the world. And I kept it until 2000. Then I turned it over to my buddy, Gary Willoughby. Everybody works on BladeZone is named Gary. I shit you not.
You turned it over after that awesome video game came out.
In fact, I wrote the review on that for the website.
Yeah.
And they sent me a free copy of it. I love the game. I'm like, this is an engaging one. I did interviews with all the cast.
Nice.
And that's how I met Lisa Edelstein, because she was the voice of Dektora.
Yep.
And we became very friendly for quite a while, but when she became a star, I left her alone. I'm like, she doesn't need me bugging her anymore.
You did a favor.
My God, because I grew up with Jewish siblings. So I would talk to her because she grew up Jewish. And so we had that commonality. We would talk about it. I said, yeah. I told her, I said, when I was little, I'd go to synagogue with my brother Michael. And there's a photo of me as a kid with a yarmulke on. And even though I was Catholic, Irish Catholic, that was the fun thing about our family. And then Lisa laughed when I told her that she was in a movie that felt like it was based on my brother Mike and I, because I was going to seminary to be a priest, and my brother Michael was studying to become a rabbi.
Wow.
And my mother was like, I would have a Catholic priest's son and a rabbi as kids. And I'm like, it'd be just like that movie that they did with Lisa. And,
I hope you're still a believer. Are you still a believer?
I am an agnostic now.
Oh, okay.
I lost my faith a long time ago.
Bad. Yeah.
But I pray constantly.
Okay.
I'm always praying. But my response to it is, I hope you are there, because I'm going to look really stupid for having said this to you. I think God's
You're hedging your bets, bro. One day you'll give in. It's okay.
Well, I gave in to this because I was very faithful, and then I lost my faith, and I've tried to get it back. This was my daughter got kidnapped for a brief period of time, and it fucked me up. And
gosh, but she's alive.
Oh, it was a family kidnapping.
Okay.
But I was terrified I wasn't going to get it back. I was afraid I wasn't going to get it back. And I think some of the deepest, darkest prayers I ever made were during that period. And I went into a place that nobody wants to go to. It was really dark. And I was terrified I was going to lose her.
Sure.
And I was afraid of doing anything, because that was my biggest fear, that if I do anything, that tells them what I'm actually doing,
Yeah.
they will disappear with her and
They'll
I'll never
exploit
see
that.
her again.
Yeah.
So I had to get a lawyer. I was getting everything planned out, working with the police department to get her back. And I had to do it in secret because they had people following me. It was a spy movie. And I already knew how to know if somebody's following you, if you suspect someone's following you, what you do. I learned that in the military. And because that's actually part of offensive driving and defensive driving are taught in the military. And you're taught how to look for people when you're moving around in a vehicle.
Situational awareness, yeah.
Situational awareness is so important.
You
And
got
I
to do
caught
a
on.
comic of this. This sounds like you got a screenplay.
I have trouble writing about it because it sends me, because that's where I got PTSD.
When did that happen? What year was that?
That was 01 and 02.
Okay.
And it started in November, right after Thanksgiving of 01, and it went through till May of 02. And I was putting all my ducks in a row before I act. Nobody can play stupid like me. And I do a lot of RPG gaming, and I found that every time I am the bad guy in the game and nobody knows it, they got to figure out who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
Nobody ever figures out it's me.
You're shady.
Because I play stupid so well. And
can I share something real quick about my own
do
faith? I was raised in the church, and then when I got into
what faith denomination? I'm curious.
When I was raised, it was Church of Christ, but I'm a Baptist now. But I don't know. I'm a Pentabaptist. I mean, I don't know. I just have a one-on-one with the Lord. I get with Him every morning and kind of talk about where I've come up short and kind of ask Him to give me some peace about things. And I read some scripture, I read a devotional, listen to some music, maybe do a little worship. I mean, it sounds like that's a lot, but maybe 10, 15 minutes. And sometimes I'm in a hurry, so I just phone it in, kind of like you hope, you know how you hope you get somebody's voicemail sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of drifted away in high school and college, and then I started hanging out with some people who are great people, great friends. One of them I see in the chat. I'm not going to out him, but we used to live on First Street together, and it was just a house of decadence. We were all just a bunch of young, straight white men with good looks and too much time on our hands. And as I got older, I got married. I didn't know what I was doing there. I was a really shitty husband, but I did have a daughter in the deal. And we split up. It was mostly my fault, not 100%, but mostly my fault. And then I realized at that point I need to get back in church for my daughter's sake, right? I want her to at least be introduced to faith. And we would regularly go, but I wasn't. I was a fan, but not a follower. You know what I mean? Like in the Super Bowl, if it was the devil versus Jesus, I would be rooting for Jesus, and that's about the extent of my commitment to the man. But in 08, I had a very severe motorcycle accident, and my ex-wife brought my daughter, who was, I guess she was 7 or 8 years old at the time, to the hospital. And she and I weren't getting along. My ex-wife and I, she had already gotten remarried and moved on. But I realized that I had been living for myself because the motorcycle accident was caused by drugs, alcohol, foolishness. I had left a 20-something-year-old girl that I was on a date with at a gentleman's club so I could run down the road to get cigarettes out of my car because I wasn't going to pay the exorbitant price for smoke. I mean, just completely selfish and decadent the way I was living. And I flipped my motorcycle, and I punctured my lung. I crushed 8 or 9 ribs. I broke my collarbone. I was able to get the bike home, but I got in the hospital, and I was there for over a week. My ex-wife brought my daughter, and the look on my daughter's face of here's my father broken. And I was fit and strong, and I would swing her around in the swimming pool and all kinds of stuff, so dad was like a superhero. And then she saw me completely broken, and I realized I almost killed myself acting foolishly and potentially destroyed this girl's life forever. And when they left, I just I just went to God and I said, why did you let me live? Why give me any further? I've done nothing for you. Right. And he kind of said, you will. To me, I felt that sense, and I just kind of wept and said, okay, I'm going to get straight. And I swore off the booze, the drugs, the women. And it took a while. I mean, it wasn't like the next day I was walking like a monk or anything like that. It really took about 6 months. But, it's a process. And my life's been blessed ever since. I mean, I don't want to, this is pop culture we're supposed to be talking about. I don't necessarily want to share all that. But
no, we talk about things like this too.
All right.
Because I like doing testimony. I came up from journalism, so I like doing actual interviews and talking about personal stuff. Like I actually worked as a journalist in magazines. Like people go, really? I'm like, yeah,
that's real journalism. That's not Bleeding Fool. Yeah. My Bleeding Fool story. The whole reason
that's what I wanted to talk about today is because you and I have never talked about this because I know the relationship of the name to Bleeding Cool.
Sure,
but we never talked about the inspiration, what drove you to want to do this, and what were your passions in the process of making this happen. That's what I wanted to get into today.
Well, I'll give you the story. You ask me anything you want. It was, I guess, almost 6 years ago. About this time, 6 years ago, 2017. It's
about the first time I saw it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I was before we launched. Now we launched in October of 2017, but it was that summer. I started seeing a lot of. You mentioned CBR. They were one problem, but there were the moderators over at Bleeding Cool would bring down the band hammer on anybody that didn't go along with the narrative, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that, although occasionally you would have people who were a little bit like-minded with me. And when I say like-minded, I mean to say I'm very libertarian. I have a moral viewpoint of how we should function in the world. I vote Republican, although I voted for Ron Paul twice back in 08 and 12.
Yeah.
Just because, I like Ron Paul. I still like him. I like his son too. But I don't, when I say Republican, I will never vote for a guy like Mitch McConnell. I will never vote, that's where I'm at.
Because I'm not a Republican either. I refuse to be a part of that. I became a Republican once in my life.
Yes.
While I was in Phoenix to vote out in the primaries.
Yeah,
John
it's
McCain.
strategic. It's strategic because
I did it to get rid of McCain.
Smart. Couldn't stand the man. I know that he did some stuff in the military. Doesn't mean I have to like him. Thanks for your service. Glad you're gone.
He was a crap soldier too.
He's terrible. He was terrible. And Lindsey Graham's even worse. He's taken over the warmonger role in the Republican Party.
Don't even get me started. Lindsey Graham.
But over at Bleeding Cool, the politics were on the opposite side, complete opposite, like extreme opposite. And I remember there was an article they had written. It might have been Joe Glass. I don't know who had written the article. This was before the guys from the Outhouse. What's the kid's name that used to write for the Outhouse and now writes?
I don't remember.
You know I don't remember.
Yeah, I do, but I can't think of his name.
Who cares? But somebody had written an article talking about praising diversity and inclusion and it said representation. And I'm not opposed to all that, but in the comment section, I said, isn't it amazing when you think about X-Men, Uncanny X-Men number 94, or I think it was just X-Men 94. I said, they didn't have to brag about how many ethnicities the team had. They didn't even say,
they were just there.
They just did it. They told a fun story and people got on board. Right, because they put entertainment and story first.
You know as well as I do, Chris, in this, it's about the accolades.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, of course,
and that's unhealthy.
It's the virtue signal. It's like when you're. Signal. It's like at church tithing and showing off how much money you're dropping in the plate. You want the praise.
Jesus talked about that too.
Right.
I think it was in Matthew. Said, the man who beats his breast in the street has gotten his reward. It's the man who prays in the closet that gets the ear of God.
Yeah, because that's just between you and God, right?
Yeah.
And God's the one that's going to bless you for that. But so I posted that comment, right? And usually in the Bleeding Cool, Rich, in the Bleeding Cool comments, I would get engagement, right? Mostly hatred. But occasionally there were some poor, unfortunate souls that had nowhere else to go that thought like me that would thumbs up and kind of encourage me. Well,
I know I'm going to tell you, I absolutely had to have been one of them because
yeah, you may have been. You may have been.
Right from the beginning, man, I was into it. I thought you were just straight up parody at first.
Yep.
And then I'm like, wait, no, he's really writing here.
Yeah. Well, we do satire also, particularly
It's
on April
satirical
Fool's,
here and there,
All Fool's Day. Yeah,
but it's usually tongue-in-cheek, snarky shit.
Some of the best stuff we've ever had, like Spike Valentine wrote a CBR article about why can't we have a white Black Panther? And it was basically doing the same thing they had done about having Black characters. It just took it and flipped it on its head, which was beautiful. Boy, you got some great comments coming up here. I hate to not mention them.
Oh, we have a great audience, man.
You
I
do.
tell you.
You do. So anyhow, I got no engagement on that. I thought it was a very smart comment, if I do say so myself. Thanks, Penny. And I said, I thought, let me log out, because I've heard of this shadow banning, right? And that's exactly what it was. I was shadow
we've been
banned.
shadow banned on our channel.
No kidding. It was then, you know what I mean? I didn't know that it was as prevalent back then, 6 years ago. And so they did. I started a new account. I didn't know how Discus worked. I didn't know that you could, once you ban somebody, it was that IP address. And at a certain point you go, look, I'm not going to fight this, because at the end of the day, if you don't want me in your house, I'm not going to be in your house. I don't care. But I realized at that moment, I said, I built some websites. I said, it's not that expensive to go buy a domain and hosting and just do this yourself. There's got to be a few other people out there that think like me. And I thought, at first we did go very satirical, and we were the anti-bleeding cool. And Rich has been called bleeding fool, bleeding stool, bleeding everything. And I said, well, just pick it up and run with it. Let's see what happens. And Rich and I have engaged on social media. He knows exactly who I am. He knows all about bleeding fool. But, I guess he's too cool for school. They've never done anything about us. They've never tried to stop us. And, maybe they consider it flattery. I don't know. But we've turned into – we're not as prolific as Bounding Into Comics. And hail John Trent for the enormous amount of work he does.
And Matt McGloin, too, is out there.
Yes.
With
over at Cosmic Book News. Yeah, those guys were my peers and predecessors, absolutely, in this. I'm just carrying that same
just
torch.
to let you know, I did have a little bit of it was not an argument. It was just a quick tete-a-tete with Matt when I was bragging about, I did my G.I. Joe cover.
Yeah.
And he took a shot at IDW, and I said, hey, look, man, I'm friends with these people.
Yeah.
There's still good people working there. I said, and I love a lot of the people I've gotten to work with at IDW, and I will never speak ill of any of them. I've taken shots at IDW. And I've taken shots at G.I. Joe because they hired me at G.I. Joe in 2013. And it took them 7 years for me to do the cover, to finally give me the job they promised me, because the dude that was running it wouldn't hire he was given marching orders by my buddy Andy, who went on to work for Hasbro.
Yeah.
And he said, Gary has been vetted by Hasbro for Transformers and G.I. Joe. I want him on the covers for G.I. Joe. I got to go to work for Hasbro. And that's what he told him. Would not do shit with me.
Never who held it up? Who held it up?
Him, the guy that was running G.I. Joe after Andy Schmidt left.
Yeah.
And when I got the cover, I immediately emailed Andy. I said, I finally got my G.I. Joe cover, dude.
Well, what happened with Matt? IDW is easy to rag
Well,
on.
Matt just took a shot at IDW as general. I said, I don't generalize my criticism. I criticize specific people when I do it.
I got you.
I don't take shots just at Marvel. I know who's the problem at Marvel. I actually, by the way, because I'm friends with Kelly Jones and those guys, we're still in a private group together.
Incredible
comic
artists,
pros.
by the way.
Conservative comic pros that we hang out together.
I need to be in
Not
that
allowed
group.
to say the name of it.
Okay.
It's Fight Club. I can't say the name of the fight. It's just like Fight Club.
Stop talking about it.
Yeah. And but Kelly came to us about 2.5 weeks before the firing at Marvel.
Yeah.
And one guy jumped ship, went to DC, and the other guy got fired. And we knew about it 2.5 weeks before it happened, because he'd been at the lunch where it was discussed. And I loved being in that group. It's how I became friends with Chuck Dixon. Well, technically I became friends with him because I worked with him on a comic.
Right.
One of my first comics at Team America. But it's where I became friends with Graham Nolan in that group. And I've always said this: if you become friends with Chuck, it's the law of inevitability. You're going to become friends with Graham Nolan because they're buddies.
Right.
It's just you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And but how many friends have you made in the industry?
And well, I've made quite a few friends, but probably the one that I'm closest friends with is Mike. Mike reached out to me in 2019. He was a fan of Bleeding Fool also, and he shared just the cover art. Todd Mulrooney had done about 4 pages and cover that Brett R. Smith colored. Brett's an incredible colorist too. And I said, oh my gosh, I said, this looks fun, because after a while you get kind of tired of the capes and the tights and the superhero stuff. Not that I'm burned out on it, but,
but he's also always very clever in his writing because he made the hero Hispanic.
He did. And I think that he did that too with, it's a Cuban American for Private American. It is a Hispanic single mom for Thin Blue Line. And Todd and Mike both kind of developed sort of the look for Gary Duba. Gary there was no discussion of his ethnicity in the book itself. So Mike was just sort of integral in getting sort of a Cuban look to that. Florida guy, right? Miami. But Mike is conservative, but that Florida man had a transgender Jamaican.
No, he's very clever in how he does things.
Oh yeah. Mike is so smart, but he's a curmudgeon because he's kind of pissed off that things have turned out the way they are in the industry. I mean, most of it's crap. Sturgeon's Law, most of it's crap. But he showed me this art, and I said, "Oh man, let me, do a story about this on Bleeding Fool." He goes, "Well, it's not a finished comic; it's just a novel." And he showed me that he'd written the novels, which are all out there available on Amazon from.
He and Chuck are both prolific authors.
Very, very. And Chuck even did a neat little Florida Man doodle that appears in the Florida Man graphic novel. But I said, Mike goes, "There's no book." I said, "Well, why don't you crowdfund it?" And Mike said, "How about you crowdfund it? And I'll cut you in." And, history was made, and we did Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and then we did Thin Blue Line. And oh no.
Well, there's no question that I want to work with you, and I finally do launch this, because I've been trying to find an artist who can imitate my style to finish the book, because I want to focus on my writing. I'm losing my ability to draw because of my neck.
I know, you've told me that's so sad.
And I just want to find somebody that can draw somewhat, because, by the way, one of the nicest things ever said about me was by Tom Waltz, senior writer at IDW. He referred to me as today's Al Williamson.
I was going to say your work is a lot like Al Williamson.
He was my hero, dude.
Well, that cover for Vindicated is just the inside cover that you shared with me a week or so ago.
I drew the brutality of him being hit in the face.
Yeah.
But I didn't want it. All the armor took the hit, so he's got 2 hits in his helmet, and he's been hit
half
so
the
many
helmet's
times.
blown off.
Yeah, the mask part of it is just separated. It's just fallen apart from being hit with so many bullets. And he says, "I may be surrounded."
I may be trapped. I may be trapped. That's what it says.
I may be trapped.
It's
my nod to, of course, Big Trouble in Little China's Kurt Russell character of Jack. Jack. I forget his last name. Burton. Jack Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what all Jack,
he opens that
Burton
door
says.
And he sees all the bad guys and he shuts the door and he goes, "We may be trapped." I have a lot of Kurt Russell nods in there. In Vindicated alone, there's a nod when he gets hit in the chest and he's laying there, and instead of "son of a bitch must pay," I changed it to "motherfucker must pay." It's straight. It's a Kurt Russell line, and I just love shit like that. They're my nods to the movies I grew up on and the actors I like. I admired Kurt Russell because he was a badass. Served National Guard. I know some people frown on that. "Oh, that's not real service." Like, I served in the National Guard and the reserves, and I was activated. What are you talking about? It's still Army. In fact, if you look at our uniform, my first name is U.S. Army and my second name is Cassell, because that's what's on your name tags. U.S. Army doesn't say National Guard. It says Army. You're a property of the Department of Defense. And I tell my cop buddies that when they get pissy with me, because I'll criticize them every once in a while. I love cops, by the way. Big supporter of our men and women in blue. But I get annoyed with them when they want to militarize it. And I'm like, look, man, you know what happens? You have a bad day, you can quit.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Yeah. In the U.S. Army, you suck it up and you drive on because you are property of the Department of Defense. You don't get to have a bad day and walk away. And you have a bad day out in the field, you or somebody else gets killed. And it's just that's what's going to happen. And that was my biggest fear as a combat medic, is like causing somebody else to get hurt. I was terrified of, absolutely gut-wrenchingly terrified of fucking up. And then I find out other guys felt the same way. And I'm like, oh, we all feel the same way. Look at that.
How many pages are left on Vindicator?
I have 3 chapters done. And I just wrote the finale, the final chapter. And then I've gone back and I'm writing chapter 2 differently because I felt like something was missing. The way it was written before didn't work structurally for me. Okay. And so I've just gone back to the drawing board. And I like my humor. My humor is in there everywhere. It's dark humor sometimes. But like I took from another script I wrote called The Comedian, and I put the ending of that into the ending of this one, because you're allowed to steal from yourself. So I stole from myself. And there's this great ending that I had for this story about a guy who's a stand-up comic that gets mistaken for another person. It's North by Northwest is my nod to North by Northwest. And fuck, man. In the end, he has to face this bad guy and he's dying, you know? And so I put that into the thing where John is sitting there talking to this guy, asking questions. And you're like, why is he asking all these questions? And you finally realize it in the last 2 frames of the comic why he asked these questions.
Right.
And it led up to this joke. And it's a classic joke of the bricklayer. And he tells the bricklayer joke. And the joke of the bricklayer joke is that it doesn't go anywhere. You're supposed to forget the punchline. Or that's what you say. There is no punchline.
Right.
And then you act like you're going into another joke. And you start telling that joke. And when you get to the punchline of that joke and you ask the person the question, and they guess that this current thing that's in this recent joke, instead the punchline is what should have happened in the first joke. And it's one of my favorite structured jokes of all time. Very clever.
How much of it is drawn?
None of it is drawn. That's why these 2 chapters, I need an artist, because I'm having to, like, the numbness in this hand is ridiculous. And my hand shakes.
What a
sometimes.
Shame. What a shame.
And I work digitally because if I try to draw naturally, the lines start looking jagged when I'm drawing.
Dang.
I might have somebody then for you.
Oh, I'm talking about artwork, not sex.
Yeah, potato.
By the way, Mike, Comic Relief Crusader is Mike. This is Chris Browley.
Nice to
this
meet
is
you,
our good friend
too,
Mike. He's one of our announcers and good friend. He has his own channel. Oh, Jesus, you turned the camera on. I was hoping you wouldn't. You got the crazy hair today, man. You look like a crazy guy living in his garage.
I do. I almost
get back on camera. I swear to God.
Look at Mike. Come on,
back. Get on camera. Look at that fucking hair. I love you, Mike.
I'm trying to pull a duck brown look, but I'm failing miserably. So
I know.
It's
the whole Canadian thing.
A little longer hair, maybe.
You're a better American than you are Canadian.
Hey, Gary, have you seen the project that Mike is doing with Pat Broderick that's coming out this weekend?
Wait, what is it? Because I'm sure I have.
Star.
No, I have not seen that.
If you go to Bronze Star Comic, you can sign up for it on Kickstarter. It launches tomorrow, but we're also doing a simultaneous campaign over on Fund My Comic. Have you heard of Fund My Comic?
No, I have not. They've finally created one just for comics.
They've created one just for comics, and you won't get canceled over there for politics or anything like that. One of the things that happened with us on Private American was the Daily Cause did a hit piece on Mike.
I remember that shit, dude. And you and you came to me.
Yeah.
And I went out there and I pushed the shit out of it.
That's right. Well, Kickstarter booted us, and then Crowdfunder booted us. Crowdfunder with a DR. But go to
and that should be criminal. That should be considered
Agreed.
a criminal act.
We engaged an attorney, and it's slow going to do anything about it. Honestly, it sucks. But go to fundmycomic.com. You can sign up.
They're on Twitter as well.
Yes, they are at fundmycomic. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are you guys creating multiple accounts at all the different ones?
I just got a second account at Kickstarter just in case, and at Indiegogo. There's the Private American if you want to do a second chance, but search for Bronze Star when you get a second.
All right, let me do that. Bronze.
Yeah, do that. I'd like you to see this. This is the first time that if you know Pat Broderick, there it is. If you know Pat Broderick, he did Alpha Flight after John Byrne stopped doing the art. He did Micronauts. He did a lot of stuff at DC, including the Justice League Society or Justice Society. Green Lantern, rather.
Oh, we got a video too.
Oh yeah.
I got to get Mike on here so he can talk about this shit.
Absolutely, I know he would love to. It's launching tomorrow.
Well, we love Mike. We've had him on a lot. And by the way, when he was on Fat Stevens' other show that he does, Lorena. What nobody knew was that he and I were privately chatting with each other during the whole show. And I kept telling him to say things. I should say this about Chuck Dixon. It'll be funny. Because I'm a dick.
Did he do it?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Mike's game.
Mike's a smart ass dude. I love that about him.
Well, what I was going to say about this situation with Pat is he's old and he's not super healthy. Some say we should boycott Kickstarter, and others like EBS. If we voluntarily leave, they win. I'll tell you what I think. I think that we're giving Kickstarter another shot, but we're not going to rely solely on them. And that's why we've started this over at Fund My Comic. Pat Broderick is he's a classic liberal. A lot of his people are over on Kickstarter, and he wanted to be on Kickstarter, so we're going to be on Kickstarter. But if they pull some shenanigans on us again, we're never going to use them again.
Look, you and I both know Blue Dog Democrats are some of the best Americans you'll ever meet.
Yeah, he's a classic liberal. I agree with most of the. We are both down with the free speech,
backbone of this country,
civil rights. Absolutely.
That's what Keith, my partner on the show, is. I wish he was here today.
Yeah.
He lost his mother. Say some prayers for him.
Oh wow.
He lost his mother on Wednesday. It was rough. It was like they were expecting it to last longer. In fact, his brother was talking to me on Monday during Memorial Day. Both of them were here at the house. We were doing a cookout. And there was this hope that she would. And by that night, Keith got a hold of me at like 1 o'clock in the morning to say, it's down to hours now. This is just a nightmare. And it did. She went quickly on Wednesday. It broke Keith's heart because he hadn't slept. And he finally was told, go home, take a nap. It happened while he was taking his nap.
Good grief.
So he wasn't even there. It broke his heart. And I just tell everybody, please, if you know Keith, post a good comment to him. He needs the positive information in his life. Be positive, proactive with Keith, and remind him how much he's needed and loved in this community, because he really is my personal, and John here knows a lot, by the way, a lot of stuff. Keith is my fact guy when it comes to comics. And we're going to do a different episode today. And when his mother died, that's why I got a hold of you, is because his mom died. And I knew he wouldn't be able to do the show.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is a good time to get you back on here.
Yeah, well, that's sad.
I've been wanting to get you on here for a while.
Thanks, Gary.
Well,
there's some other news. I don't know if you guys heard, Peter Samedi, who runs Alterna Comics. He kept seeing all these different crowd funds were offering digital comics. And even after the campaigns were over, like somebody would run a Kickstarter, an Indiegogo, or crowdfunder, or Fund My Comic, whatever. And then you didn't know where to get that comic. So he has started something called comicbooknewsstand.com, NEWSSTAND.com. And he's gathering it's basically just one website that has how you can get these digital comics. So wherever you see, what's a for instance out there? Well, I mean, I know Mike Barron's is there, but they've got over 80 titles. Like Josh Howard's books are over there. Anybody who has got an
Is this it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So scroll down a little bit and you'll see right now you can just enter your information here, upload your cover image. If you've got a digital comic out there, you can do it. But scroll down and look at all these titles they've got. And it's some that the campaigns have been closed for a while, but you can still access and get the comics themselves. And I think it's a good thing. I'm proud of Peter. He's not making any money off this. It's totally free. So if you have done a crowdfund campaign or you're selling your books on Amazon digitally or Gumroad, if that's still a thing, I don't know, Patreon, you name it.
Oh, it's sad. I was hoping Iron Sky might be in there. It's not.
No.
Do you ever see my Iron Sky comic?
No, you have to put it on there. If it's available digitally.
Oh.
Yeah. He's not going out and collecting this information. But he's hoping to have over 100 listings. I think he's up to 80 something right now. He just launched it yesterday.
Wow. There we go. This is my book. You can still get it over on Amazon.
You should add it. You should add it to this.
This is a buddy of mine that did the covers because I like the old Gold Key comics where you had a different cover artist.
Yeah.
And then I would do the interior art.
Is it a painted cover?
Yeah, it's a painted cover of a baby pissing in a diaper made out of a swastika flag.
No way. I need a T-shirt of this. Just kidding.
And it's beautiful artwork. I loved his work. I really did. I'm listed as the co-author with Miko, and Amin Amat worked on it with me. He did one chapter. It was a fun book. I wonder if we got any good reviews. I'm always afraid to read reviews.
Show it.
1 star. Oh, you're not seeing it. Let me share it.
No,
oh my God.
Come on.
Oh God. I thought I was sharing the screen, but I'm not. Let me share the screen. Boom. Here we go. 1 star.
Nazis assassinating each other at close range. Lots of bloodshed. Not much story. Well,
it's
you got
a pulp
some 4
comic.
5 stars in there.
Now there's a nice one. Oh, I feel good about this shit. People
Let me
like
see
the
that
artwork.
cover.
There was a 5-star.
This is now. I'm going to tell you a little story about this guy with the cover.
Ooh,
here.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Douglas is my buddy. We are still friends to this day. You can see some of the artwork here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a funny story in here, right here, the introduction, where Miko tells how I got involved in the comic. I basically invited myself to work on it. I said, yeah, you need to hire me. I'm the guy. And just all of a sudden I was working on the comic book.
That sounds so out of character.
Yeah, I know, right? Here's some of my artwork. And I did all the lettering, by the way.
You did the lettering too. Wow.
Yep.
Really?
I got featured in what is that big comic book lettering font site? This is the what's his name? Dave Gibbons font.
Yeah.
I paid like good money for the font, all the versions of it. And
put it on sale.
I did the artwork and I did the coloring on this.
Nice.
I had a lot of fun doing this book. They liked me because, once again, when it came to the actors and stuff, I got the likenesses. And I was very good at what I did. And they did a nice little breakdown of the film in it. There's a lot of work. There's a pinup I did right there.
Is that the one where Sarah Palin was the president?
Yes.
And the Germans had a moon base?
Yes.
Awesome.
This shit was
that movie.
fun. I'm still friends with all these guys. I refuse to come back for the second book because, and I'm not slagging these guys. I am not slagging them. But
that's IDW, right?
We didn't get IDW published it. They did not pay for it.
Okay.
The studio paid for it. They did a crowdfunding. I did not get paid the second half for the book. So I made it clear that if I'm going to do the second book, which I had first, what do you call that? First right
refusal.
to refusal. And I said, you will pay me up front for all of the work.
Yeah.
And none of this half up front, half later, because I'm not like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Yeah. I'm not going to do that shit again. But I love these guys. They're great guys. It wasn't like they intentionally fucked me over. That's not what happened. It's just there was no money.
They just unintentionally did.
All the money went into the film. And they thought that we would make more money off the comic book, and I'm like, never, ever anticipate that. No.
Anybody that says we're going to make all our money off that comic book is...
Well, I told them, I said,
naive.
the reason why you're doing the only thing cheaper than word of mouth to promote your movie is make a comic book.
Yeah.
And I've done it with a lot of projects. I worked on the A-Team. One of the first comics I worked on for IDW was A-Team. And do you know the story about IDW? Because I was not the artist. Oh, I know. We got to end in a minute. I'm watching the clock.
Okay.
But I got to tell you the truth. Do you guys know how to end the show for them and not us? Because I feel like continuing talking to Chris here. I'm having fun.
Yeah, we can always stop. You can always stop the stream, and we're still on this.
Yeah, we're gonna stop the stream just for KGRA, but I don't know how to do it. Do you guys know how to do it? I've got no response yet.
No.
Martine, do you know how to do it?
Nope.
I should have sent it. I should have
Well,
sent it to the Marx Brothers.
What a shame. What a shame. That's all good.
Well, you and I could continue talking after the show.
Sure.
Yeah, I should have sent it to the Marx Brothers. One of the greatest lines in Indiana Jones history. You didn't, did you? You did.
You
should
did.
The Marx Brothers.
Are you gonna go to the theater and see that? The new one? No. Okay.
No. I look, and it's not just because I'm conservative, it's because I love Indiana Jones.
Yeah, right.
It has. I tell people it has nothing to do with my politics.
I'm torn about whether or not
if you read one of my comic books, you'll never know my personal politics. You shouldn't know somebody's politics from how they write. If you do, you're a terrible writer.
Sure.
Yep.
I still regret seeing Crystal Skull. I wish I hadn't seen it. I'd rather have stopped at the John Byrne comics and that'd be it.
Only thing good about that was John Williams soundtrack and Drew Struzan's post.
Go ahead, Mike.
We stopped for you, Michael.
Yeah.
Go ahead. But nothing.
No, they're saying that this movie's going to make. They're saying that this is going to make Crystal Skull look good.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I'm predicting it does 600 million and stops right there.
There's only 3 Indiana Jones movies.
Correct.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you for being here, man. I know that everybody in the audience really enjoyed it. And speaking of the audience, I want to thank our KGRA audience for always sticking in with us. We appreciate it. Don't forget that this show is brought to you by Fuel Up. Fuel Up Wake, Play, and Rest. I'm a absolute user of this stuff. It's amazing. It's changed my life. I don't take old man naps in the afternoon anymore. I feel energized. Now, of course, I got to tell you, Chris, the joke I said to the owners of the company, I said this to them right to their face. I said, yeah, I was apparently using it for 2 weeks before somebody says, you don't snort it. You put it in water.
Oof.
They laughed. They thought it was funny. I'm a comedian. Fuck.
Again,
I want to
potato.
Penny, Anima Confusa, love of my life, Slasher Fred, Sox Bulletins, Rag and Ruse, Pat S, Hex Allen Comics, Apollome's Minion, Joe's Atmosphere, Fat Steven Seagal, Scott Lewis, Real Wade Nation Gaming, Donnie Pearson, E. Clay Thomason, Zax, a.k.a. Kyle, Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs, The Captain's Arse. That's a name I haven't seen before. I like that one.
I like the Captain's Arse. I like it a lot. You should follow him.
Okay. Yeah. Follow us too, Captain's Arse. We'll follow you back. By you following us, I get the notification that lets me follow you. Bleeding.
Donnie Pearson, a very prolific fan.
Oh, Donnie's a regular. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love him. Let's see. Bleeding Fool, I'm assuming that's your buddy. Speed Griffin.
One of them.
And Shinatsky. And, of course, none other than the one, the only Boosh McFadden.
Boosh McFadden.
Monkey wasn't here. I'm really sad. I love Monkey Jeebus. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for being here. And with that, or as Andre would say, and with that.
Those sons of bitches.
Ma, I'm doing a show.